I guess we could just say, hey, like, subscribe, follow, and if you have any comments, leave them below. We'd love to hear the discussion from you guys.
Yep.
And the next part would be the one that you found, which is you want to talk about the possible next gen system that which one you want to talk about? Nintendo?
I'll bring up Nintendo's. If you could bring up the next one if
Yeah,
you want.
sure. Go ahead. So you
Yeah.
can go ahead
So both
and
of these next two topics are kind of related. Um, the first comes from indirectly from a Bloomberg article, but basically it's talking about the new Nintendo Switch.
mm-hmm.
And there's been some rumors going around for a while. If you're into Nintendo Switch and you kind of follow the rumors, there's been a Nintendo Switch Pro kind of hinted at for a while, and then there was this rumor of the 4K one as well. But it looks like we're getting a little more traction, and to see that there looks like there may be a possible imminent announcement that maybe something in the fall will be coming. So finally something actually to look at. So basically, it's talking about Nintendo Switch Pro. Well, they're not called the Pro; they're called just the 4K,
Mm-hmm.
and that it could be here as early as possibly September. There was a tweet from somebody who works at Nintendo Magazine,
Right.
Nintendo World Report, and she was commenting. I'm not sure how she's got the info, but somebody tagged her and asked her, "Is the new hardware the same as the Bloomberg reported on, or something entirely different?" Basically asking, was when Bloomberg reported the Nintendo Switch 4K coming in the fall, hey, is this legit? And she says, yes, the Bloomberg article is accurate. It's going to have supposedly a new screen, upgraded chipset, and looking for a September, October. So, early fall kind of release. And also said the announcement again is imminent. So that's pretty cool. It's a bit, for me, it's like, we're not quite into summer yet, but that's not too far away.
Right.
There was some other news in here that said that the initial builds of the product was going to be shipping out to testers and whatnot in July. So
that would sound about right.
That's not too far away. Yeah, that's not too far away, and that would maybe make some sense. So that sounds really cool. I'm just a little bit curious. We'll see. The price. It was speculated that this Pro model, not the 4K, but the Pro model will be somewhere in the range of like 350. So I guess my next question there to obviously Mike and then everybody watching on the channel, right? Are you interested in a 4K Switch?
Yes,
I am, right?
Yeah.
How cool to be to see Zelda in 4K.
Yeah. Well,
the upcoming news, the Breath of the Wild 2 in 4K, obviously amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
Going along with that, kind of we talk about these flagship games, and I'll go. Yep, Zelda's right in there. Okay, the new Zelda will be out. If you want to see it in 4K, gotta buy the new Switch.
Sure.
So basically, you're looking at a $400 investment for the game and the Switch. So, all my Zelda fans are gonna be like, yeah, $400, whatever, we'll pay it. But, Mike, what do you think of the price, the news? What are you thinking?
Look,
because we don't know anything about the speed. Yeah, we just know it's supposedly 4K. So
if for me, me, I'm a tech junkie, right? Now my wife plays the Nintendo Switch. That's her gaming platform. She loves it, enjoys it. There's a couple games on there that we've played together, but I've backtracked away from consoles over the last year and a half, although I still have my Xbox Series X, and now I'm mainly on the PC. But I'm always looking for a mobile gaming platform, right? Because the time that I have now in family time and everything else, the time that I have for gaming, which is one of my passions on the side, I don't get it all the time. So for me, having a mobile platform where if I'm doing something else away from somewhere and I do have the opportunity to grab something, a 4K system is what I would want, because I hate the muted graphics that you get on lesser powerful systems, right? Let's just face it.
Yep.
And this dovetails directly into, because I might as well just dump this on top of the fireplace, because Valve is also thinking about doing the same thing, and they're looking at a Switch-like portable gaming PC. This has been previously codenamed as the Neptune, okay, and they're looking at possibly calling the Steam Pal, right? Now, and if it has anything of the same guts and the ability for people to have a better online, or excuse me, on-the-go gaming experience, you also have to take a look at the fact that the marketplace that you can get, say, an i5 condensed, Switch style Intel gaming system on the go right now. I know Linus on his channel does reviews on them all the time. It's a hot market. So 4K gaming. Now, although I'm not a big Zelda fan, what games in any universe would I love to play 4K on the go? PUBG.
Metroid.
Okay, Metroid is another one, but Circuit Stars, Circuit Superstars. I would love to play that. I would love to be able to be on the road anywhere and play that game. Okay,
Oh yeah,
with a
yeah, yeah.
controller. I would still go into the fact that there's so many other titles out there that could be played on the road. Any Rainbow Six game, if I could play it on the road, done.
Hmm.
MLB The Show. Now that I finally got a taste for it, if you could say that, hey, if you could tell me that I'd be able to play MLB The Show on this thing anywhere I go,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah.
done deal. I wouldn't even
Hmm.
think about it, right? So like besides Metroid and the Zelda games, what other ones would you see that in the Switch arena? Because look, let's just say this much: if Valve has their own portable gaming system, right? And if we're in that arena, think of the Steam games we could play on the road, man. You could play Astroneer, you could play Deep Rock, you could
Hmm.
play
No, I
anything,
know,
you know,
it's
you
crazy.
you could play
It's so cool.
Squadrons, you could what else could you
Hmm.
know?
Well, I mean, I mean, Steam, honestly, and we, I mean, not to get back to the way the world is, but online gaming has just had a huge bump in the past year, year and a half.
Mhm.
And Steam, I mean, when I see a new article about a game coming up, I saw one this morning actually. I was like, oh, this game was cool. Is it on Steam? It's gonna be on Steam. I mean, just it's just
It's there.
awesome. It integrates with tons of things, and yeah, I'm curious if obviously if Steam Pal they're calling it if comes to market, you know, I'm sure it's probably going to integrate with their any controllers they have.
Right.
What about Steam VR? I mean, would this be able to you know, link up to that and run? I would imagine it would be able to do so. And I'm just really curious to see what kind of internals. I did see something too that maybe was a little bit interesting. It said that the possibly the Steam Pal would run on Linux.
That would be
Just
interesting.
something,
That I
just
mean,
something there too.
not super surprising though, because obviously
Um,
it's going to unlock whatever potential that they have in the operating system area that they wouldn't have to be so bogged down with running instructions on just keeping the thing
yeah,
operational, which is
yeah,
fantastic.
of
Which
course,
which
yeah, yeah,
makes sense. That makes sense because to me that's a perfectly great move. But look, let's turn around and tell the world, you know, obviously recently we've just rediscovered Astroneer. We've been playing it pretty regularly and
yeah,
going into world building and, you know, and crafting and so on and so forth, which is a different type of world. The
yeah.
problem is with an experience like something like an Astroneer, I'm just wondering, some PC games don't translate well to small screens, right? Whereas the Switch already has a library of games that could easily transfer, because let's say that Nintendo has always had their sights on portable gaming, from the Game
Yeah.
Boy, from the different
Yeah.
variations that they've had. And the Switch was just a natural development of the fact that they said, well, let's take mobile gaming and make it a household experience.
Yep.
And we'll make that a blurred line for Nintendo, as they almost did with the handhelds in the Wii universe, right?
Yeah, it was always about games on the go. The fact that it had a
Yes.
dock just meant that you could get it and still have a home unit. I mean,
Right.
it was always an on the go system. So
Right. So
yeah.
I'm again, and where Nintendo usually goes, people tend to follow down the roads. You know, with the Wii U, when it was so hot to have off-game peripherals, right? Look, Xbox went with Kinects, and it didn't
Yeah.
connect, right? It didn't last. It didn't have the same staying power. Neither did the Wii.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
with mobile gaming, and I look, the one player in this entire game though that I think that people are really not paying enough attention to is Apple.
Mm.
They've got the ability to have a world class gaming system, and the thing that they've already got is they've got a capitalized market. Okay, in their quote unquote walled gardens. So if Apple turns around, like I said, opens up the true power of these M1 class devices or their 4K TV,
Mhm.
mobile gaming is going to change again, especially at the iPad level. So who knows?
Yep.
So much
Yeah,
to
and
talk
I'm
about.
interested to see also what happens with and not that I want to get too bogged down with the Epic versus my Apple lawsuit, but that kind of goes right along with whatever Apple might do in the gaming
Oh,
space.
sure.
How the royalties go along with that too, but that just needs to be seen as well. Yeah.
Sure. But it's interesting to see. Now, the other thing, lastly, in this discussion, I think that needs to take place is, what is the world shortage of silicon and chips going to do for all of this? Because let's face it,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
difficult to get your hands on some types of computing devices, let alone the chipsets that you need to run your cars. So I'm wondering
Yeah,
how that's going to
I
affect
just
things.
saw something this morning. I'll try to see if I can find it again.
About,
Semiconductor shortages
oh,
again.
still, of course. I mean, it's happening.
Um,
It's a real thing. But
no,
I'm,
I know. I thought I saw somebody else was shutting down temporarily for
oh
that. I
God,
can't find it, but anyway, yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I guess we have to see the difference
Yep.
of what's going to happen in the different gaming platforms, how that's going to develop. It's interesting to see that Valve has literally. You would have thought this would have been sooner from Valve, like to get into the mobile gaming platform, and it's interesting to me to see that that's where they are today. I don't see Valve being able to really have as strong of a market right now if they don't get into mobile gaming. I think it would be a bad move for them if they didn't.
Yeah. I just wonder, being a PC gamer and a console gamer,
Mm-hmm.
knowing how I use Steam, obviously on the PC, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to imagine someone who the market of person who would want to play Steam games but maybe doesn't use Steam now, right? We're talking somebody like a new user, right?
Okay.
If
Good
the Steam Pal
conversation.
came out,
Right?
um is it something that, well, I guess there's two questions here. Is it something that the new user would be as attracted to as like a Nintendo where they know the name?
Mm-hmm.
Or how about yourself and myself? And you kind of alluded to it a little bit now earlier. Like we both use Steam on a PC.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there obviously are games that would migrate well to a mobile version of Steam on a
Mm-hmm.
handheld, but some games that obviously would not. So I'm just wondering, because I mean, the sense that obviously Steam has so many different categories of games,
Right.
you're not going to get, I just don't feel like I would see the hardcore competitive scene ever really go to a Valve handheld unless it's a PR thing because of
I have a
the
different
issues.
take. I have a,
Well, I'm just saying that issues inherent to, like, depending what competitive scene we're talking about,
sure.
but the constant like issues on response time and lag on some types of things.
Understood.
Um,
So let me throw this at you.
but I think, but just like you mentioned earlier with like Astroneer is like perfect because
Yeah.
it's perfect for that. I mean, you can sit anywhere. You can sit on your couch. You can sit in your bed. You can sit anywhere. You can take it on the go.
Sure.
There are tons of games that, yeah, would be great for that. Yeah, actually. Yeah.
So I have three things now to add to that conversation. Number one is trends, right? The trend is that what everybody didn't want to do 15 years ago suddenly becomes an acceptable trend now, which is online game delivery, which people balked at when the Xbox One was going to come
Oh
out.
my, yeah.
The major upheaval that people said wanted disc-based content. They didn't care at all. And look, now we're 7, 8
Digital
years.
rights.
Yeah, we're 7 or 8 years down the road, and nobody really cares if you have a disc anymore, right? So that's one of those trends. So when you look at those trends, just to say what you were going into your discussion about, would people really care about latency issues if everyone is still playing on the same system, okay? And mobile gaming, like a mobile PUBG or a mobile Fortnite champion style based thing that came into this, would be different. Number one. Number two is variety. Steam's
Oh yeah,
overall, yeah,
oh,
right. So
totally.
Steam has so much variety in their pipeline already. So if you look at things like Simple Rockets, which would be perfect for a mobile gaming platform, if you look at things
Tons of
like
stuff there.
Kerbal, if you look at all the different style of games like Human Fall Flat and so on and so forth that are catered towards smaller screens that Valve would have an instant tap into, man, then this becomes such a valuable proposition for Valve. It's
Oh yeah.
undeniable. Okay. And that almost takes a lot away from Switch, because if then I'm sitting on the fence and I'm going, well, do I want a 4K Switch or do I want the Valve PAL? I'm like,
That could literally come down to proprietary IP, honestly. Like,
exactly.
do you want to play this to Zelda? Well, guess what? You're getting a Switch. But if you don't care, then you get something else.
Then you get
Like
something
if you're
else.
like, I don't care about Zelda, boom, Valve, get the Steam Pal.
That's it. And look, the Switch on a 4K TV looks fantastic. I mean, it looks great. But then again,
yeah.
But then again, I can understand that if you don't have the best TV that actually will upsample to 4K, then it might be different, right? So
There was some things with Switch, it like slower frame rates
Mhm.
on when it's docked. But again, that's all things that well, we don't know actually. But I was gonna say that's all things that I'm sure they would probably address with the new whatever they're gonna actually call it, the 4K version.
Right.
Because again, from what we can kind of glean from details, from that one tweet, for example, the one editor that's reading about it, it's got a new screen. Okay, fine, of course it does. But then upgraded chips.
Right. Hey,
Okay.
ooh, how about World of Warships on any one of these, right? On a small screen basis. Because World of Warships.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily a fast game,
No.
right? It's not. Yeah, so if you guys don't know already, we both play World of Warships as well. If you again, not as mainstream a game, but still quite fun. On the I was a high seas kind of World War II battleship, surface ship simulator.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I mean, think of the maybe more popular game, World of Tanks. You got any World of Tanks players out
There
there?
you go.
What would you say? And I'm not talking again. Probably, I don't know. We'll see. But the main like hardcore competitive guys, World of Tanks, or the casual World of Tanks players. Anybody out there for World of Tanks? And what would you say if you could play World of Tanks on something the size or maybe slightly bigger than a Switch that was integrated with Steam, or maybe not? Maybe not. I mean, just what do you think about that? So
Don't know. Hey, I tell you, there's so much out there, and as I look at the 12.9er again, because my mind runs with fancy about waiting to see if they're really going to unlock that processor with the arcade development side of things. And the last one, this is the last thing to be said on this, xCloud. xCloud has to make it. If xCloud doesn't make it, a lot of people have popped their head up into the environment of, offline/online gaming, where you're basically getting a console style experience, but you're doing it on a tablet because you're gaming remotely from the cloud. Okay. If xCloud doesn't make it, you've got a bigger problem on your hands. And that's the other competitor in this whole thing. But heck, we are out of time. Like, Back to the Future. So out of time.
Yep, I can't see the song because I don't want to risk
Oh,
it.
there you go. Yeah, we'd be in trouble. But hey, folks, it is good to be back at this time frame and the time slot, but it's great to get a full show in, and maybe we could do it again next week. So we'll see what's going on there.
We'll see.
We'll see how that whole thing plays out. But I'm done. And hey, leave us your thoughts in the comments below. It's always great to hear from you guys. Comments drive videos. When there's more comments on a video, I've seen that it does much, much better. So help us out, help the channel out. And if you're part of the ones that do actually watch these episodes post after we put them out there in the real world, let us know what you think below, because that would really help us out. So I'm done for the day. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how we might be able to get these flame trench pictures to you guys.
All right, well, do it in an episode. We can talk about it.
Because it's cool.
It is cool.
The amount of hell and brimstone that must have been going through this trench, as you can see, is crazy. Honestly, it's
fire.
impressive.
Are you talking about fire and brimstone or hell and brimstone?
Well, I guess if you were there, you wouldn't care what
it would probably
called.
just be a bad day anyhow.
Yeah, you wouldn't have any time to think about it.
Name a place that you would not want to be a fly on the wall. That would be it. The flame trench.
It's like one of those things, like, if you got to go, maybe it's not so bad, because it ain't going to last very long, let me tell you.
Okay, we got way too morbid.
Yeah, we're way off topic there. Little
hey, folks,
philosophical.
Yeah, right? Like, subscribe, follow. We appreciate everything that you guys have been doing for us. And if you get a chance, just drop us some lines in the discussion below. Thank you so much for participating. James, good seeing you, and we'll talk to you guys real soon.
Take it easy, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Later. Thank you. We got to say thank you to Harris Heller. And I've still got to get that new song in here. He's got new stuff. So, hey, folks, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon. Take care. Yo. Bye-bye.